So it's a really common question. Why would I want a business advisor for my farm? And let me give you just one example. Over the past couple of years, I've worked with a number of farms, number of farmers who are really entrepreneurial. They look at their operation, they look at what they're already doing and see an opportunity to add a business, make an extra 25 cents or 50 cents a bushel, or leverage their trucks, or do different things like this where they're adding on to what they're already doing to increase their overall profitability. And a lot of these have this one particular thing in common. They get what I'll call the first level of business right. The first level is it profitable? You know, they understand the cost, they understand the revenue potential, and so they get that first piece. It's profitable. They get the second piece right. Is the ROI there? Not only am I making a profit, but am I making enough profit off the assets I'm putting into it to justify that investment? And they get that right. Oftentimes the investments aren't necessarily huge because they've already have maybe half the investment done already. But it's the third level of business that I've seen trip them up and really imperil their farm time and time again. And that third level is cash flow. All right. So one of the key things to understand about business, you can actually lose money in business for a long time as long as you have cash. All right. I mean, heck, look at the U.S. government. But what you can't do, it doesn't matter how profitable your business is, if you run out of cash, if you can't make payroll, if you can't make rent, your business is going to fold. And this is especially critical in farming. It's especially critical because the cash cycle in farming, so I deal mostly with crop farmers, and they are putting a huge amount of their inputs down in the spring, waiting for 6 months, harvesting it. And so there's a lot of cash flow needs there. And if when you're making this expansion, you are using up the spare cash you have, you're not leaving enough cash to operate, it doesn't matter how profitable your farm is. It doesn't matter how profitable your new ventures are. It doesn't matter if you're running out of cash. And the problem is, once you run out of cash, it becomes ever harder to get more cash. So what's a business advisor do? A business advisor, for me, we're going to sit down and we're going to map out a 36-month cash flow. We're going to figure out, when you make those investments for your new business, how much do you need to borrow? Do you need to borrow? How much do you need to borrow for operations? Not just to build the facility, but how much do you actually need to operate that facility until it becomes cash flow neutral and not affect the rest of your farm? Okay, so we're going to do a 36-month cash flow. We're going to use that then to decide how to structure your loans, how to structure them between what you already have, how to look at the operating loans, and then we're going to make sure that your books are set up in a way that both for your own decision making, but also the bank evaluating you know how much money you're earning, how much cash you're using, and what your return on investment is. Because every one of these farmers who are like this is not their last entrepreneurial venture. This is just one of many. And so we're going to use this to set them up for success for all the ones that they do in the future. So those future enterprises get easier and easier and easier. That's why having a business advisor who understands finance, who understands banking, matters for your operation. I'm Matt Roberts, Bridgeforth Advisors. Thanks. Bye.